So it's not long until City of Heavenly Fire comes out, which will of course end the Mortal Instruments series. And despite the fact that there are plenty more Shadowhunters to come, how does it feel bringing that initial series to a close?
I mean, it sort of feels bittersweet, you know. I'm really happy in some ways to feel like I've completed the story and given the characters, you know, the ending that I feel like they, you know, deserve and that's fitting for them. But in another way, you know, it'll always be my first baby. Yeah. And, you know, I'm going to miss the characters and I'm very comfortable with them. And, you know, getting used to a whole bunch of new characters is hard. It's like, I'm trying to think, it's like a bit like graduating from one school and going to another. You're always going to kind of miss your old friends. Yeah.
Are you worried about fan reactions to the last book?
I am, of course, because, you know, there's so much that's wrapped up in the last book. It's, you know, when the readers say goodbye to the characters and you want them to feel like they have left the characters in a place that feels right. And so gauging that spot that feels right for readers can be difficult. And I think you don't know whether you've done it until the book comes out and you get the feedback.
Yeah, and of course, it's not the end of the line for a lot of the characters except for the ones who won't make it through, because let's be honest, not everyone is going to make it out unscathed. So for the future series, The Dark Artifices, how has it been writing sort of the same characters but from different points of view and several years older?
It's interesting. You meet the main characters of The Dark Artifices in City of Heavenly Fire, Emma and Julian, but they're younger. So I did get to write a little of their perspective on Jason Clare, and it's kind of fun because they're so much younger, and so for them, for you know, Emma and for Jules, Jace is like a member of like One Direction or something.
They've reached legend status then.
Yes, it's sort of like he's been on the cover of like Shadowhunters Weekly every week or something. So they're like, when they meet him. But by the time that we get around to, you know, The Dark Artifices, they are the ones who are, you know, 17, 18 years old, and they're, you know, the story is more theirs, and the adult characters are now the ones that we knew as younger in the Mortal Instruments. So we get a different perspective on them as adults, see, you know, who's gotten married, who's stayed together, who's got what job. I mean, for me, it's kind of fun to fast forward into their lives and say, okay, this is where everybody kind of,
I'm really interested to see where everyone's ending up as well.
Yeah, there's no, I mean, City of Heavenly Fire doesn't end with an epilogue that tells you, like, you know, Harry Potter, that tells you this is where everybody went as adults, because I wanted to kind of save that for Dark Artifices so we could kind of see it in action.
And obviously the Shadowhunter world is a lot bigger than it was when Mortal Instruments started, which I think 5 series plus Bane Chronicles, is it planned?
5 series plus the Bane Chronicles is the
Did you have
goal.
all that in your head when you first started Mortal Instruments, or did that come as you were developing the world of Shadowhunters?
I always hoped to be able to do that. Yeah, I built the world to be really flexible and to be big. You know, I wanted the Shadowhunters to be a worldwide organization and to go back many hundreds of years so that I could take any period of time that interested me and set a story there, and to keep the magic system so flexible that it could take place anywhere in the world. And so I just feel really grateful that, you know, people have enjoyed the books and enough that I am able to keep writing in this world. And I'm really excited to do both Dark Artifices, because it takes place in my hometown, which is Los Angeles, where I grew up, and also Last Hours, because Edwardian England is one of my favorite periods.
I'm very excited for Last Hours. I really enjoyed the Infernal Devices.
Oh, that's
so it'd be good to see those characters continue as well as the Mortal Instruments ones.
Yeah, and we get to see, you know, like Will and Tessa and the rest of them as sort of an older generation, but they still have some fun.
Yeah, and you've got the Magisterium series with Holly Black coming out this
September.
year. Yeah, how has it been writing things that aren't Shadowhunters? Is it kind of nice to step away from that world a little bit?
It is, and I often think that, you know, sometimes you need the break in order to allow you to keep on, you know, ongoing, because Shadowhunters is very intense world, and there's a lot of world building, a lot of magic, and also I've been writing in it for a long time. So I think to step away from it for a little while and work on something that's so very different kind of lets me come back to Shadowhunters and feel like refreshed and ready to
How
kind
long
of start
has it
again.
been since the very first sort of Shadowhunters started? I mean,
well, I've been writing these since 2003, so it's been, for me, it's been almost 11 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to ask you to pick a favourite, because asking an author to pick their favourite character is like asking a parent to pick their favourite child.
I agree.
But who has been the most comfortable to write in the Mortal Instruments series, and who are you going to miss writing the most?
I think of all the characters in Mortal Instruments, the one that's most like me is Simon. I mean, he just has the same sort of outlook on the world and reactions as I do. So I'm certainly going, you know, to miss, I mean, I'm going to miss writing Clary, I'm going to miss writing Jason, but you know, Simon is the closest to the kind of personality that I have, and so I'm certainly going to miss writing him. And the same way I missed writing Tessa, because you know, her love of books is a lot like mine.
And can we hear anything about movie news? Any info on City of Ashes, anything?
I don't know anything. I talked to them a little while ago and they were just like, everything is status quo, so I have no updates, unfortunately. I'm sorry.
Do you think the Mortal Instruments fandom has gotten a lot bigger since the movie came out?
I know it has. I mean, I've definitely seen it grow, and, you know, I've seen sort of the explosion in my mailbox, and you know the sort of number of people that kind of follow me on Twitter and Tumblr, and certainly the growth of the sales of the books and sort of the general knowledge of them. It's, you know, it's definitely very weird. I have a much more common experience now of walking around the street and seeing people reading the books, which is not something that happened to me before.
Does that ever stop being weird, seeing people reading your books?
It's always weird. And I was in a like a coffee shop on Gloucester Road the other day with my friend Sarah, and we saw a girl reading City of Fallen Angels, and she kept saying, say something to her, say something to her. And I was like, no, it's so embarrassing. So finally, as she got up to leave, Sarah jumped up and said, you know, this is the lady who wrote that book. And she looked at us and she's like, I don't believe you. And she walked out. And I was like, that's so embarrassing. She must think we're just sort of maniacs who go around claiming to have written books.
Just really big fans of the book.
I know, I was like,
get involved that way. What's been the best experience that you've had due to Mortal Instruments, like best place you've travelled to or best fan experience?
Oh gosh, I've gotten to have so many great experiences thanks to the Mortal Instruments books, but I think that probably one of the greatest was do you know the Make-A-Wish Foundation?
Yeah.
They grant wishes to kids who are really sick, and there was one girl whose wish above all things was to come on the set of the Mortal Instruments movie. So we got to bring her on the set, and she got to get in costume. She got to be in one of the scenes in the movie, and she got to talk to all the actors. And then I also brought her and her mom out to LA, and they came to the premiere of the movie, and she got to come to the after party. And so I think she was so happy, and she had such a great time, and she's such a sweet girl. I think that was probably one of the best things.
Oh, that's awesome. And how does it feel having people come up to you and say that you've inspired them to write, or what would you say to people that have been inspired to write by you?
I mean, I always say, you know, read as much as you can, you know, read books that you don't think that maybe you would like. If you read fantasy all the time, try reading, you know, crime. And if you read only mysteries, then try reading, you know, romance, because, you know, you want to get as many different kinds of voices in your head as you can. But I mean, when people tell me that they're inspired to write by the books, then I just feel very honored. I mean, I think that's a wonderful thing.
And last question, what have we got in store in City of Heavenly Fire? What can the fans look forward to, as spoiler-free as possible?
Okay, as spoiler-free as possible. I think that it's a quest book, more than a lot of the other books have been sort of, you know, books in which the fight is brought to our main characters and they fight back. In this one, they bring the fight and they actively seek out, and in order to do so, they must go on a quest and journey very far. So it was really fun writing that sort of like quest narrative.
How many boxes of tissues are we going to need?
Oh, I'm hoping only one box of tissues, but get the double ply.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was lovely to talk to you.
And you.